COVID.
Yes.
So many people took up cycling. I almost took up cycling. It's just that I took up running. But anyway,
okay.
The whole point is that you keep moving.
Yes.
And it's great to see that cycling is going into the mainstream. We have groups like the Spin Kings, of course, we give them a shout. Azu, I'm sure that you are part of
my cycling club in Nakuru called Cycle for Fun.
Cycle for Fun.
Yeah.
You need to invite me.
Yes,
you know that
very soon.
And running and cycling, there isn't much
Very
difference.
true. We are going to Mombasa on the 1st of December doing a suicide awareness, so maybe you can come run alongside our side.
Yeah.
When you get tired, we have a cheska for you.
And that is beautiful. And as we see the race that has just begun moments ago from the Kenyatta International Convention Center in Nairobi, the Grand Nairobi Bike Race, it is an initiative, and we do hope to see a lot more of this in the future.
Yes, and as you can see, we are going to have the men's 8-kilometer race. Everyone is doing a loop of 16 kilometer, which is 5 loops making the 80 kilometers. And we have Black Mamba category, we have the Paralympic category, we also have the kids race, the family bike race, then we have the main group race, and then we also have a main team race where it consists of 3 male riders and 3 female riders, and cash prizes of up to 3 million shillings. Oh my.
That is something that definitely is going to change your life. But as we speak about life-changing experiences, I'm sure, you know, just engaging in cycling, engaging in fitness, engaging in movement is something that is life-changing. I want to give you my story as for example.
Yes.
I'm one person who has struggled with a lot of things, a lot of ups and downs in terms of fitness. I used to play the game, and when you leave the game, you think that you are still fit until you have to visit the doctor.
That's so true.
And a few doctor's visits have seen me, weigh 100 kilos. The latest one, remember we took a picture in Kisumu?
Yes, I do remember that picture.
My friend at that time in Kisumu was 110 kilos.
Oh my.
But I was struggling a lot, and you start thinking the basics that get you going. So I hit the bikes in the gym initially.
The spin bikes,
The spin bikes, then got moving. But the long and short is that I've lost about 13 kilos from July to date. And it's just one of the benefits, I wouldn't say necessarily of just fitness, but of things like cycling. And this is something that we would like to see being taken up by the Kenyan public, because already we do have the infrastructure. We do have the talent, but do we have the support? And this is a problem. Call out to organizations like National Olympic Committee of Kenya. Of course, we do know that they facilitate Kenyan athletes to head out to the Olympics and the World Championships, but also the cycling body in Kenya, the Kenya Cycling Federation. I think, if they were to actually push the element of lifestyle riding, this is something that would work twofold in terms of making the money, but also making the sport a lot more popular. As we speak, this is the men's main 80-kilometer race. It is the Jubilee Insurance live free race, and you are watching it live, and we do hope that you are enjoying this race coming to you from the streets of Nairobi.
Yes. Una enjoy too. Man, I wish wangetupatia hizi majina zao watu.
Alisema umetuma
kwa mail. Sasa kwa mail, I hope tumegawanishwa according to venye wana.
Unajua venye nasema? Okay. And that is a message from the gallery manager for us to actually get our microphones as close as possible. If we sound too loud, we are sorry, but the whole point is that we are trying to bring you the information from the Jubilee Insurance live free race. It is the inaugural edition of the Grand Nairobi race.
As you can see right about now, I think this is the second peloton, if I'm not wrong. Brian Tubbs over there with tag number 234 leading away, and hopefully he's going to catch up with the first peloton, which is I think ahead maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And as you know, as a cyclist, for you to be dropped by 2 or 3 minutes, you will have to chase for a long time before you catch up to the next crew. And as you can see also, they are going ahead and passing the under 23 category, passing the Black Mamba category, the ladies category. We'll have some of the family ride members arriving anytime from now, because they started a bit earlier. According to the kids race, they finished because to them was a 1 kilometer ride just around the KICC building. Hopefully we are going to have a very awesome finish, because I believe it's going to be a sprint race, considering the fact that we are going to have so many pro cyclists leading out to the finish line.
Interesting insights from you, Azu. Tell us more maybe about cycling in Kenya, about its growth, about its popularity, more so over the recent days.
Well, cycling, as you said, grew bigger during the time of the COVID period, and most people took it as a hobby sport, just to enjoy and maybe overcome different issues from their social life, and maybe mental health, wellness, probably physical appearance and all that. But there are some people who took it as an active competitive sport. As you can understand, we have pro racers who are going all the way up to America to do races, gravel races, road races, mountain bike races. But here in Kenya, we lack one basic necessity, the support that we are talking about. Because I believe if we had that kind of support we needed, every pro cyclist here in Kenya would have gone to a major big race like Tour de France, maybe even for the race in Italy. But you know what? As we start this being the second edition of the Jubilee Live Free Race happening here in Nairobi, we hope by the time we are doing the third edition, we'll have a big impact in the cycling community. Even the governor has talked to us, and he has said that he's willing and very able to make sure that we are going to have the best out of the best. And as you can see right now on our show, that's the leading peloton, where we have a group of at least 6 to 7 cyclists. I hope this is the team that is going to finish on the first sprint, but it's still too early. We still have 4 more laps to go, so we don't have to count our chicks while they have not hatched yet, you know.
Definitely. And as we speak, they've just gone past the Toyota showrooms on Mombasa Road. I do believe that they should be past South Sea. They're definitely on Mombasa Road. Of course, the action is coming to you live and free. This is the Jubilee Insurance Live Free Race, the Grand Nairobi Race. The second edition, as we said, and those were great insights from Azu, the man they call Dennis Githu, the man we know as Azu Top Shutter.
Yeah, but the cycling one, they know me as the cycling Rasta.
Man, you've got different names,
yeah, you have
environments.
That's very true, because everywhere you go you live as the Romans too.
And as we can see them, they are now on Langata Road, the pellets, as you said. And maybe for the viewers at home, for the uninformed, just inform them.
Okay,
what is a pellet?
A peloton is a group of cyclists. If you see them in large numbers, that's a peloton. So we don't call them a group, we call them a peloton. So this, like the group we are seeing right about now, that's the first peloton. They are the leading peloton. So behind them there's another peloton following back. But for the group in front, that's the one. When the race started, we all started with all cyclists together. That's the whole main peloton. And as you can see, an attack has been set over there, and everybody says, no, we are going to hang on your wheel. And that is what most cyclists like doing, hanging on someone's wheel, so that you can reduce the speed or the power that you're using while cycling, because it reduces at least 20 to 30% of the average power that you're using while you're just slipstreaming. We call it slipstreaming in the cycling terms, where you just sit behind someone's back and he's doing the work, he's just pulling you, you're just following his wind speed.
Definitely, you've talked about the wind speed, you've talked about the attack. We are seeing a great race unfolding here in the streets of Nairobi. The big question is, who is going to win this race at the end of it all? Remember, this is the main race, the 80-kilometer race. It is the Grand Nairobi race. I am your commentator, Michael Kwambo, alongside Dennis Githu, a man with many acronyms. In rugby, we know him as Azu Top Shutter. In cycling, they call him the dancing or cycling Rasta. and in the corporate world they call him the public noisemaker, but that is besides the point. We are seeing this race unfold here, and do you think this is a good thing for Kenyan cycling? Number one, that this is being beamed live, but secondly, it's invited participants from all and sundry.
Well, I believe this is a very great impact to the cycling community, because one, if I want to see what happened during that 2022 race, I will just go back to the live feed and watch my race. I can use that feed to make sure my training is much more better, so that if I have another race next time, I will know what I did wrong last time and what I'm going to do right this time. And the fact that we are inviting Ugandans, people from Congo, some from Rwanda, gives us the opportunity as East African community to see how strong can we raise a team from Africa. If we are invited today for Tour de France, East Africa, can we raise a team from Kenya, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo and Tanzania to make sure that we have a very strong group of cyclists? So I believe whatever Jubilee Insurance is doing for the cyclists is an amazing, great impact.
Definitely, as we see the cyclists just go up the Langata Road, they are passing past the Wilson Airport, the destination to Kisumu and Eldoret for many of the economy flyers.
Very, very true. I can see my Luo friends agreeing with me on that one.
Yeah.
You go with your Mercedes to Wilson, you park it over there, and then you just jump on a plane to Kisumu.
It's a noisy flight, but tell you what, it takes about 50 minutes.
Yeah.
As opposed to the road trip, which could take anything from 7 to 10 hours. Anyway, we have the gentlemen in this race.
Yes.
Just riding down the Langata Road, just going past the Langata Primary School. This is the men's 80-kilometer race in the Grand Nairobi race. It is brought to you by Jubilee Insurance. Definitely something that is going to change the lifestyle, the life outlook of Nairobi.
Very true. As you can see, also on the road, we have our marshals and the stewards making sure each and every cyclist is safe, making sure they know where the potholes are, the rumble strips where they are, just to make sure the safety of the cyclist is much better, because we understand that some of these cyclists didn't do the recce. And for those who don't understand what a recce is when the cyclists go and do a lap around the race, just to make sure they know where to slow down, where to change gears, where to change the pelotons, how to draft swiftly behind someone. But I believe everyone by now understands what we are supposed to do, because the marshals are doing their race. And as you can see on the leading peloton right about now, they are making sure they jump all over those rumble strips, because once you have your speed, you don't want to reduce the speed to go over the rumble strip. So I believe it's going to be an awesome day, and the cyclists are very excited about this, because you can see that the Black Mamba category left earlier than the main race category, but they are using the slipstream of the main team to go further and further, because theirs is only a one-speed gear, and when you want a one-speed gear, climbing a hill will be a different issue to you.
I think Dennis, you're being polite by classifying the Black Mambas as a one-speed gear.
Yes,
because they have no gears.
Yes, they have no gear. We call them the single speed.
Yeah, you start and stop.
Yeah,
with your effort.
Very true.
Whereas for the rest of the racers in this competition, they actually have gears.
That's true.
These bicycles are actually mini motorbikes. And let's not even talk about
the big difference is the weight of the bikes, because for the main team, their bikes go from 3 kilograms to around 7 kilograms.
Obviously.
And for the Black Mamba is 30 to 50 kgs.
So are we saying subtly that enough respect to the Black Mamba riders?
All the way up. Definitely. All the way up, because if you see cyclists in Burundi, they don't know what professional bicycles are. They use Black Mamba in every other activity.
Definitely. And you talked about professional bikes. Do you think that this race is actually a catalyst for a lot more races, a lot more professional competitions?
I do agree with you. Yes, I do agree with you, because by now the Kenya cycling calendar is already out, and we have already done 2 races. And so far so good. And as you can see, we've had a crash somewhere behind the peloton, and the ambulance is over there just checking them out, and they're coming down the Nyayo Stadium Road, coming to take the second lap around the race.
This road has been renamed. It is the Douglas Wakihuri Road.
Very nice.
Named after the Kenyan marathoner who won Kenya's first medal in the marathon in 1987 at the World Athletic Championships in Rome, Douglas Wakihuri.
Wow, that's amazing.
This is a great honor as the athletes, as the cyclists just get back onto the Uhuru Highway.
Yeah.
It is a race there between the first two competitors. It is looking good. It is looking beautiful. And you were talking something about the bicycle weights.
Yeah, the bicycle weights. We have the carbon bicycles, we have the aluminium bicycle, we have the light aluminium bicycle, we have titanium bicycles, and we have the metal bicycles. Tunasemanga ni chuma za reli. Hizo ndio unaona watu wa Black Mamba wako nazo, because to them they don't want speed, they want the weight, because once you have that weight, going down a slope will be the easiest task you can ever do, but coming up a hill, oh my.
You know what, I beg to digress. As we just look at the route map, this is how the cyclists are going. Of course, we've seen them do the loop up to Uhuru Gardens, Wilson Airport. They're now making their way back to the Nairobi Central Business District. They will climb up towards Upper Hill, and then of course the other loop into the Nairobi Central Business District before returning to finish up this race at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, which also serves as an event center and car park. Definitely a great morning, a great afternoon of cycling. Unajua as we see the leading pellet, I'm hoping that I've gotten the terms right from the one, the only, the maestro, Dennis Githu, aka Azu Top Shatter, aka yes. Cycling Rasta.
Yes, sir.
Aka commentator. Anyway,
yes,
we are seeing the leading pellet just making their way through Upper Hill. And whoa, that was a burst of speed.
Yeah, that's Bobby Joseph. He is among the GC contenders, and as you can see, he has a lot of power. He's using the bike that the deceased, oh my, Sule Kangangi used while he was racing here in Kenya. So he's going to use that bike while he's racing. I hope he's going to measure the power of Sule Kangangi, but I believe Bobby Joseph also has his own power, and he's able to do something that people have not seen in a long time in the cycling world.
Definitely. And you mentioned the name of the great Sule Kangangi. You know, just learning about him, learning about his death, learning about his efforts for cycling. Definitely, this is something that he would be proud of. And this is probably just a call not only to the Kenya Cycling Federation, but to cycling enthusiasts, to corporates as well, to actually take up this sport, because I believe this is one of the easiest sports to, first of all, engage in.
True.
Secondly, it is also a very what can I say, mainstream sport, because it cuts across the board, and it is something that you can actually, you know, throw your support into across all boards. And then thirdly, Kenya has the terrain, you know. We have talked about doing the E10 Eldoret route.
That's all hills.
And then again, Maimahiu. And, you know, I think about this a lot. Much as I may be an outsider in the world of cycling. But I just think and wonder, why don't we have these kind of races? For example, a race that probably starts in Maimahiu, ends in E10.
That's true.
Yeah. Anyway, let's enjoy the action on our screens.
Very true.
Of course, going down this Upper Hill loop, and you know, this is amazing because Nairobi is actually revealing itself as a great cycling destination, and we haven't even talked about the rest of the country. We can see that looks like a cyclist just in it for leisure and pleasure.
I think he's using the family fun ride category, because I mean, you wouldn't want to be chasing the peloton when you're not going to finish in any top position. Remember, we are going to have awards for the top 10 in every category, so you better make sure you have the right position while you're going to the finish line after your 5 laps around the 16-kilometer loop.
Definitely, as the race continues to unfold. Obviously, this is also some respite for the riders as they just look to be getting back onto the Uhuru Highway. They're still on Upper Hill, but remember, this is the easy bit for them. It looks as though they're passing by the British High Commission. Definitely in Upper Hill, we can see the majestic buildings of the business district in Upper Hill. Definitely making for great settings in terms of cycling, and obviously showcasing the city that is Nairobi. But more importantly, it is the Grand Nairobi race. Who is going to win it in 2021? Actually, 2022.
2022, yeah. We didn't have it in 2021. The last event was in 2019. And we had a young man from Uganda, Jordan Schleck, who won the race. I am trying to find his position in the race, but I can't see him in the leading peloton. So I hope he's somewhere saving his energy, just waiting to burst it out for the final lap, which I know is going to have a sprint finish. But let's not predict it very early. Let's just wait and see what happens in the 4th lap, because that will be the determiner. If you're going to have no energy by the 4th lap, I don't think you're going to be among the sprint finishers in the final lap.
Definitely, you have to be smart about you running this race, about you cycling this race. And it's interesting you talk about Kampala and the fact that the Ugandan won it in 2019.
Yes.
One thing I'll tell you about Kampala, one thing you know about Kampala is the hills and the valleys.
Very true.
I can tell you, I did the Kampala half marathon in 2018.
How was that?
And my guy, that was something that I have never experienced before, because number one, Kampala is built on 7 hills.
Okay.
And then secondly, it is on the shores of Lake Victoria.
Crazy.
So you train at high altitude in Nairobi, you train in the cool weather of Nairobi, and it's humid, it's hot at 6 a.m. in Kampala. You start running, and after 13 kilometers you ask yourself, why did I come out? And
so true.
That for the athletes coming from Kampala, they do find this a lot easier because conditions are cooler,
very true,
easier. Remember, Nairobi, the only challenge is that it's higher up in altitude.
True.
But it doesn't have the 7 hills. It doesn't have the humidity, and probably that is a reason that we saw a winner from Uganda in 2019. Big question is, have the Kenyans stepped up over the COVID break? Are they able to fight for the title in 2022?
We have to wait and see what will happen, because I was hanging out with some guys who came from Congo yesterday, and they are very confident about winning the race. We also had some guys from Rwanda, and as you were talking about the elevation and hills, Rwanda also measures the same, but I don't know how they're going to fare well on our roads, because we don't have such elevation in our country, especially the route that we are using today. I don't think we have an elevation of more than 2,000 meters above sea level, but hopefully we're going to have a very awesome finish at the final lap.
Definitely. And you talk about an awesome finish, but the race thus far looking awesome for the participants. Of course, there are those who are not competitive, obviously just looking to tick the boxes, and then we do have that leading pellet who are going to claim the race. Remember, over 5 laps. And they are certainly exerting themselves. This is something great for the city of Nairobi. It is brought to you by the Jubilee Insurance, the live free race. It is the Grand Nairobi race from the capital city of Kenya, Nairobi. Every lap is 16k. As the cyclists now get on to the 2nd lap, and this incline You know, when you do the Nairobi marathon,
yes,
they actually call this the Heartbreak Hill.
Yeah.
I'm a regular customer at the Nairobi marathon.
You should have some KOMs on that road.
And I'll tell you that it's all good until you get to this stretch.
That's true.
Because you're climbing for about 2 kilometers.
Yeah.
And it's not a steep climb. It's
very
a gradual
true.
climb.
Yes.
So you just find yourself. You remember the old Leyland buses?
Yeah.
Had no turbo?
Yes.
So you find yourself operating like that.
Aha.
Until you get to a flat space, which is probably around Nyayo Stadium.
Yes.
Now that is you as a runner. As a cyclist, it's not any easier, because I've also done a lot of cycling.
Yes,
I must tell you, and I'm looking to draw the comparisons in terms of using your legs, your hamstrings, your thigh muscles.
Yes,
and you exert yourself a lot more. That when you find yourself on a flat surface,
yes,
you just let yourself go.
Yes, very true. Because in cycling, there's always one word: whatever goes up must come down. So every time you see a climb, you just prepare yourself to go faster during the downhill, because if you don't change your gears at the right time, you're not going to pick up the pace of the peloton around you.
Certainly, and we are looking at the race becoming a lot more competitive as the cyclists get into the second lap. Remember, this is the men's main 80-kilometer race at the Grand Nairobi race. It is brought to you by Jubilee Insurance. It is live, it is free. We do hope that you are enjoying the action right from the heart of Nairobi, as we just see the cyclist going past that famous stretch of showrooms on Mombasa Road.
Yeah, I thought Bobby Joseph was using Sule Kangangi's bike, but I see he has changed to his usual bike, the Benotti, which he was also sold by Sule. This was the bike that Sule used to ride when he began cycling, but I believe Bobby thought it would be wise to use whatever he's been used to during his training, and I hope he's going to do something amazing in his category right at the Jubilee Insurance Live Free Race. Remember, we are here at the KICC for the Grand Nairobi Race, the second edition.
And we must give great credit to our crew that is it leading or following the crew, because they are actually giving us the pictures of the athletes, of the leaders, and definitely helping us in terms of the information that we are relaying to you on your screens.
Jasper, very nice.
So it doesn't make sense because you're setting once again. This is the second lap. Remember, they're doing 5 loops of 16 kilometers each. As you just see them go past the NHC houses in Nairobi West, they are up on Langata Road. This will be a bit of a steady climb. Obviously, it does slow the momentum. Remember, the action is brought to you by the Jubilee Insurance. It is live and free, and we do hope that you are enjoying it. As you just see shots from earlier on, the casual race, which actually set the stage for the main race, the 80-kilometer race, which will be run over 5 laps of 16 kilometers each. The action continues as you just see the pellets here going past the Nyayo National Stadium, heading into Nairobi West. Remember, this is a great day for Kenyan cycling, a great day for Kenyan sport. And here they just look to be past the Wilson Airport. That looks to be the leading pellet. Sam Kagiri and Brian Tubbs in the leading peloton. The action continues in the Grand Nairobi bike race. We're into the second lap. We're just seeing the competitors go past the Amref International University on Langata Road.
I do believe by now most of the cyclists have found someone who they measure their power with, and they've created some small pelotons because the whole group has broken into different groups. And as you can see, a different peloton right over there pushing harder and harder and harder, hoping to cover the difference between them and the leading peloton. I hope they're going to catch up, because I believe it's going to be a sprint finish today. Most of the cyclists came prepared for the finishing lap, because they believe most of the professional cyclists are going to make their attacks after the third lap or the fourth lap, but they want to be also among the group. So I don't know who's going to make the leading peloton, but I believe we're going to have at least more than 10 cyclists in the sprint finish.
And definitely that should be an exciting finish. But in the meantime, the race continues here. As we can see, I believe this is the leading pellet just heading down Langata Road as they are making their way en route to Mombasa Road, looking to finish I believe this will be the completion of the third lap. There'll be 2 more laps to go after this, but they certainly are exerting themselves. They certainly are enjoying themselves. Remember, the action is live. It is free. It is brought to you by Jubilee Insurance. This is the Grand Nairobi bike race.
Yeah, as you can see on your screen right about now, the boys from Kenya riders, we call them the Green Army boys, giving their attacks after attacks after attacks. They carry at least 4 to 5 domestic riders who help them at least reduce the pace or the number of peloton in their group, so that they can make sure they have a safe position in the GC category.
And maybe for the uninformed viewer, you could explain, number 1, the attacks, and then number 2, the GC category.
The attacks are when one of the cyclists decides that I don't want to sit on a group. They do something called an off saddle, is where you come off your seat and push your pedals even harder, getting more power and opening the gap between you and the group that you are with. Number 2, you said I should inform them about what, Mr. Kwambo?
It was the GC.
The GC is the general category, where the riders of the top 10 position are standing. Yeah, that's the GC category.
Certainly, as the race continues to unfold live on our screens, these look like riders from the GC category. Of course, we have seen the leading pellet launch the attacks and obviously break away from the rest of the team.
I believe the team that you're seeing is from the Black Mamba category, because as you can see, everyone is off saddling, because that's an elevation up Bunyala Road, and that elevation is not funny.
It isn't funny whether you're running or riding.
Very true. Even when you're walking.
Even when you're walking, sometimes even driving in traffic.
Very true.
Not funny at all, because it's a steady climb. Remember, you're going from about 1,000 meters to about 1,200 meters, and the worst thing is that it's not an immediate climb.
Yes.
It's a gradual climb. So you actually have to exert a lot more pressure. If you've done hiking, if you've gone to the likes of Mount Elgon, by the time you get to the crater, it is 2,500 meters above sea level.
Very true.
Now Kilele Ngamia, which is the summit of Mount Elgon, is just 200 meters above. But my friend, you take another 2 hours
for 200 meters.
Yeah, so I believe that if you're a hiker, if you're somebody into outdoor sport, into cycling, you probably will relate with what we're talking about.
Very true, very nice. As you can see, the support team from the Kenya riders there on their motorbike with spare wheels. In case of a puncture, they don't fix the puncture, they just change the whole tire and continue with the race, just to make sure that you don't lose your power and your positions.
As the race continues, tell us more about cycling in Kenya. I know that you are very into cycling. You take part in a lot of challenges. I've seen you several times do Nairobi, Nakuru.
Yes.
Of course, you're going to tell us about that, but just tell us about the cycling culture in the country.
I believe the cycling culture in Kenya is really growing, because we are really trying to bring on board as many cyclists on the road, because most of the people just fear cycling on Kenyan roads. That's the only main concern. But we are trying to build something called the bike train, where you can wait at a certain stage for people coming from different locations, just coming collecting people as we ride into town, where we always have a mass group ride, where we call it the Critical Mass Nairobi, every last Saturday of the month. This is where we bring all cycling fraternity together as a group, the family, the kids, those who have not been on a bike in like 10, 40, 50 years. On that day, you all come with a very slow pace and enjoying time, music over there. I mean, it is just fun moments. But as you can see for today, it's a different case. There's no pace, there's no slow pace. Everyone wants to be in the front of the line, because I mean, who wouldn't want, I mean, a share of that 3 million, you know? Even me, if I was not sitting here with you, Kwambo, I mean, I will be out there trying to find my like.
That's absolutely great. And just another question.
Yes,
of course, we have talked about the popularity of cycling in Nairobi.
Yes.
But what about the rest of the country, especially in places like Western Kenya, where already it is some sort of a culture, and these are people who are using the one-speed bicycles.
Yes.
Let's not call them the Black Mambas.
Yes.
Yep.
So if you can see, from most of the Black Mamba members, they came from Kakamega yesterday in a bus. I mean, when they got to Nairobi, every cyclist was worried, because whatever these people saw, they've never seen something like that. More than 30 bicycles, Black Mamba, one single speed bicycles carried from Kakamega to Nairobi. Remember, the Kakamegans have their own race sometime next month, but they are here to make sure that they are ready for the race in their area, because they believe Nairobi don't have elevation. So if we're going to win the Nairobi race, our own will be such a easy run.
Again, as a cycling enthusiast, how do you grow the sport?
By nurturing those young talents from the young age, because as you can see, we have the under 23 category. That means we have a future for people who want to race in the Tour de France 2020 something. Start now as they are young, because the great thing about cycling is that you start from a mountain bike, which is different from what they are using today. The mountain bike is mostly for the off-road, but if you use the off-road more, it builds your stamina, builds your balance, and builds your confidence, so that when you get into the road bike, it's just all about speed and speed and speed. So if we get these kids at a tender age, as we have seen in the beginning of the race, take care of them from a young age. Give them something like the soccer academy. Give them a cycling academy. Grow their strength, nurture their talents. Make sure you define between a mountain biker, a road racer, a gravel racer, maybe someone who wants to cycle from Kenya to South Africa. You know, we have those kind of different cyclists. So if we start at a tender age, I believe in future we are going to have a very great nation of cyclists.
Definitely. And as you talk about cyclists, I just want to give a shout out to the Spin Kings, Ben Asin, George Asin, Those guys are doing great stuff.
Very
cycling. True. And to all the other cycling enthusiasts around the country, around the world, we do hope that you are enjoying the Grand Nairobi race. It is brought to you by Jubilee Insurance. It is live, it is free, and we are watching the men's main 80-kilometer race. It is a battle on the streets of Nairobi, 5 laps of 16 kilometers each, and the leading pellet definitely will be the one to give us the winner.
Right now, as you can see on the screen, those are part and parcel of the family fun riders who are just enjoying their small elevation on their mountain bikes with their lowest gear, as the cyclists call it, the nyengese. You just don't use any power. You're just there to pedal and make sure that as long as you're moving, you don't fall down.
That is a very colorful, a very interesting description of the free gear there by Dennis Gidu. Talking about Nyengese, as we just get a beautiful shot of Nairobi. The athletes are on the Uhuru Highway. Above them is the Nairobi Expressway, but that's besides the point. We are following the action in the men's main 80-kilometer race. It is the Grand Nairobi Bike Race, brought to you by Jubilee Insurance. It is live, it is free. We do hope you are enjoying the action on this Sunday morning in the Kenyan capital. And definitely the cycling enthusiasts who have shown up have been in big numbers. And those are our winners in the Black Mamba category. The one speed category, as we agreed we're going to call it.
Very true, very true.
Because Black Mamba could be a snake. And it could be a snake that is synonymous to it.
True.
You know, I studied in Western Kenya,
yeah.
And I studied in a school where Black Mambas were the occurrence. We'd see them every week.
Ah, yes. Yeah. You had more Black Mambas than students.
We did, but yeah, I mean, it was even something to intimidate the teachers, but anyway.
Very true.
We turned out fine.
Yeah, we survived.
So did the teachers.
All the time.
Yes.
As you can see, one of the Black Mamba racers, the single speed members, just making sure he's catching a breath of some more air, or rather just wanting to breathe in more by removing his tongue out to breathe in more and more, because it's a climb and he's on a single speed. You know, he doesn't have to change anything, so he needs more air than any other cyclist out there.
I must tell you that my biking experience has come on the single speed bicycles, and that is an act of resilience.
Very true.
Because you go down the hill, you have to stop cycling,
yes,
and then when you realize, hey, there's a climb coming up,
you have to think
again and pedal big. So you have to have big legs, you know.
Yeah, I've seen most of the cyclists, what they do when they see a very huge climb, they will just turn around, go back, and then come with extra power. And trust you me, my friend, even if you're using a road bike and that person has done that, you will never find, you can't find them ever again. They will pass you indeed.
Yeah. And I mean, I learned those lessons early in life. I mean, you know, when you'd go up country, and that was the only thing that would keep you occupied in terms of hobbies. And I mean, there have been key learnings from that as well.
Very true, very true.
Yeah. As the action continues here in the men's main 80-kilometer race.
The boys from Green Army, Kenya Riders, just making sure they are conversing with their team members. deciding who's going to chase and who's going to pull the team. Only 2 of them are leading the group right about now. I don't know where the other peloton is, but right about now we have a breakaway of only 2 KR riders, as we call them right here in Kenya. I hope they are going to make their team proud. As you can see, there are only 2 of them. I don't know about the other team where they are, but I hope they are going to catch up with these boys from Iten, because the elevation on that side is nothing compared to what we have here in Nairobi. Yeah, man.
The action continues as we see the pellets here on Mombasa Road. Obviously just looking to stay competitive in the Grand Nairobi Bike Race. It is brought to you by Jubilee Insurance. Definitely something great for Kenyan sport, something great for Kenyan cycling, and we do hope to see this race grow in the years to come.
Yes, indeed.
Away from the Grand Nairobi Bike Race. I mean, can you imagine this race covering up to Naivasha?
That would be such an amazing race.
You know, Iten Cabernet.
Yes.
Tour of Kenya.
Yes.
You know,
cycling from Nairobi to Mombasa. That would be such an amazing event.
But I think the ride down from Nairobi to Mombasa would be the easiest.
Yes.
It would obviously difficult because of traffic, but the difficult sections would be now in the Rift Valley.
Very true.
Can you imagine starting in Maimahiu, Naivasha?
Yeah.
Nakuru,
yes.
Iten, Cabernet, Eldoret.
Yes, that would be crazy, because
Londiani,
coming from Nairobi going down to Nakuru, that's a downhill, but from Nakuru going to the other side, it's all elevation.
Definitely. Remember, if you're joining us, this is the Grand Nairobi Bike Race brought to you by Jubilee Insurance. It is the men's main 80-kilometer race. As you just see the cyclists on Uhuru Highway.
Yeah, that's what we call a breakaway. He's left the team that he was with, the peloton that he was. Now he's doing a breakaway. That's where we call it. What was the name we call it? I even forgot about the name that we call it. Today we are going to use so many cycling terms. But as you can see, the second, I believe this is the chase group, the second group from the leading peloton. They're just trying to cover the distance between the peloton in front of them and their group, because I believe right about now we have a distance of 1 minute or either 1.5 minutes, and trust you me, Mr. Kwambo, that is a very, very long distance.
And they are on that climb, the railways climb, as I would love to call it, Heartbreak Hill. Always takes the air, the breath out of you. This looks like the leading pellet.
This is the leading group.
They are up on the Nairobi Expressway.
And as you can see, they are working together. One is in front, the other one is behind. Then they are interchanging just to make sure they save enough energy for the final lap.
And that final lap definitely is going to be epic. It is going to be frantic. Somebody has to win this race. It's going to be one of the two. Just look to be lapping some competitors as they go on the race here. Just looking to pass past the Wilson Airport. That's the footbridge that we know all too well.
Very, very true.
If you're a regular,
I mean, if you're a Nairobian.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying.
And if you don't get it, forget about it.
We're sorry. But like you said, this looks like the leading group.
Yes.
Obviously, they have separated themselves from the rest of the pack.
And the boys come from Iten. the Kenya Riders team.
Oh, that is wonderful, because we did see about a few months ago, Ineos actually launched a riding team based in Iten.
Yes.
And they have Eliud Kipchoge as the brand ambassador.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, we can have such great cyclists if we can have a marathoner doing the same thing, because I mean, for him it might be so easy to do a triathlon where he will run, cycle and swim. It would be so nice if we can have something like that over here.
Definitely. That just goes to what can I say? It goes to showcase the potential of Kenya in terms of its athletic prowess. It is actually beyond the mainstream sports. That resilience is something that can get this country a lot more in terms of medals away from the traditional athletics.
Very, very true. Remember, we also have the para-cycling, where we have different groups of people doing different races, where we have also the blind who are cycling, we have the crippled who are cycling, we have people with only one leg, the amputee races. They are all here. And we have the tandem bikes, where we have one riding in front, marshalling the one behind her. So this one is for if you're either blind. And we also have the deaf cyclist. Can you imagine a deaf cyclist on a Kenyan Nairobi road? That must be crazy.
It must be crazy, because Nairobi roads are already chaos when you're driving. The noise, I mean, I can't imagine.
You know?
Yeah. As the action continues. Is this the second pellet?
Yes, this is the chase group. We call it the chase group.
Yeah, okay.
I believe an attack is about to be launched. Yeah, because once you make sure you don't leave the leg or the tire of the one in front of you, because once you miss that tire, your power goes down and you have to do extra work to catch up with the rider in front of you. And most cyclists don't want to do that at such a point, because I believe by the fourth lap you would have wanted to save as much energy as you can see.
Definitely, as the attacks continue, the race continues to wind down. It is live, it is free, it is the Grand Nairobi Bike Race. It is brought to you by Jubilee Insurance. The action continuing on the streets of Nairobi. Remember, it is 80 kilometers in 5 laps of 16 kilometers. We are approaching the business end of the competition. It has been great, it has been good. Once again, the cyclists on that climb.
I believe they are deciding who's going to help us cover the grounds for the leading peloton, because I mean the chase group is looking very good and has quite a huge number of cyclists, but I believe if they don't have coordination, nobody is going to cover that gap in front of them.
Certainly, and that gap, it may look big. It may look...
Oh, trust you me, it's so big.
Yeah.
It may look small. Yeah. You know, when you tell someone, amepita tu hapa sahi, it's only 30 seconds ago.
But though, I mean, you and I know that recovering 30 seconds is massive,
problem.
Because you need to recover 30 seconds, you have to actually take out 31 seconds.
Imagine.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
It's an extra effort.
True, and that means they have to refuel and have enough energy bars, maybe also some energy gels. You can also have some electrolytes in your water just to make sure your strength is refined.
Enough, you've talked about refueling, you've talked about the energy bars.
Yes.
I haven't seen any of the athletes in this particular loop.
Yeah, doing it, because most of the time they start from the 4th lap, because by now they still have that breakfast inside them, and the warm-up they did, I believe they still have some power, but by the 4th lap you will start to see some difference.
A quick question.
Yes, sir.
What does it take to become a cyclist?
Just a bike and a helmet.
Okay, other than that, because you could have that, but now if you wanna pursue it further, say you wanna get fitness, so how do you go about it?
One thing I learned when I started cycling was, if you believe you want to do it, just don't think about it. Get your bike out and just move. Because the moment you stop pedaling, we have something called the clipless pedals, where they are not clipless because you clip them on the bike. Your shoe fits on the bike perfectly so that you can use more extra power from your quads and all that. But if you're not doing that, if you're not pedaling, you fall down, and you fall down in a slow motion mode. So every time you feel like I want to do something, just get your bike, go out, use a 1 hour or 1 hour 30 minutes. Imagine you will have done 30 kilometers without you knowing. It's just the matter of making your mind up. Don't think about it, do it. Because if you keep thinking about it, a year will pass. You were saying, I wanted to ride in December. Next December, you still haven't touched your bike. As you can see on the far end of the screen, that's the tandem bike.
Maybe you can explain to us what the tandem bike is for the uninformed.
Okay, the tandem bike consists of a normal bike but has an extra seat at the back. So if I want to cycle with someone who has never cycled before, we can use a tandem bike. I will be the one leading in front, controlling everything, and for the person behind me, his is to add extra power to the tandem. A tandem is such a nice bike if you want to engage your partner in an activity and they are not willing. A tandem bike will be the best idea for that.
Definitely, as we see great shots from the streets of Nairobi. It is the Grand Nairobi Bike Race. We're heading into the business end of this race that is brought to you by Jubilee Insurance, who is going to be the winner in 2022. Remember, this race making a return after a hiatus. Of course, that hiatus caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. It wasn't a run in 2020 and 2021, returning in full force in 2022, of course, with the backing from Jubilee Insurance. Great numbers, great pictures right here in the streets of Nairobi.
Lap number 4.
And obviously taking advantage of that decline in the race to just, ease off the pedals. The Grand Nairobi Bike Race is happening live on your screens. It's a wonderful day for cycling in Kenya. It's a wonderful day for cycling in Nairobi. For the serious cyclists, for the casual cyclists, an opportunity to test yourself on the streets of Nairobi uninhibited, because many other times that we read about the challenges the cyclists go through, you yourself not too long ago have suffered from a cycling accident, obviously due to, I'm not going to say the inconsiderate nature of other road users. I'd probably say the ignorance.
Very true.
And maybe you can speak more about that.
I believe, as you've said it perfectly, it's the ignorance that gives us most of these incidents that we have out here. Because for my case, I was just coming from another rugby match with my bike, with all lights blazing, as you always see cyclists during the night hours. But on my way to Naivasha Road, someone knocked me from the back with a motorbike, and I can't remember most of whatever happened. I only woke up at the hospital asking, where's my bike? That was the first question, where's my bike? And everyone was wondering, why are you asking for your bike? You need to be told. For cyclists, the first answer is always, where's my bike? Or have you stopped my Strava?
Definitely, as we just see the pellet here, the leading chase, actually making their way through Upper Hill. They are looking towards going for a massive finish. And I remember you said the leading group is from Iten. It is beautiful. I do know that. Remember we talked about it, Ineos, the company that sponsors the marathon great Eliud Kipchoge, expressed an interest in cycling. They have also identified Iten as an area in which they can base their operations. Remember,
the good thing about that makes Kenya at least a little more popular than Eritrea, because we already have a team that's sponsoring Eritrea, and we have, that name is crazy, but we call him Girmay. Girmay won a race in the tours, one of the tours, and that gave Eritrea a very big title in the cycling community. So if we have Ineos Grenadiers who already have a team in the UK, US, if we have them bringing a team here in Kenya, trust you me, we're going to have a very strong team. Because I was telling some of my friends, think about cyclists who are just eating ugali, drinking porridge, and then getting on that bike, doing a race with others.
Well, that is absolutely massive. They are just using their core strengths, for lack of a better word.
Yes.
No supplements, no drugs. Remember, we've also seen incidences where athletes, especially in the cycling category, have been subjected to bans because of using banned substances.
That's true.
To find people who are just relying on raw talent, raw strength, is actually amazing. The race continues here.
Sorry, as you were saying, Mr. Kwambo, I was wondering where the vets category is. Those are the men from 42 plus and above years, because those are the pioneers of cycling here in Kenya. While they were doing their races back in the days, we didn't have the carbon bikes. We didn't have the aluminium.
I think this is a question that should be posed two-faced. It should be posed, yes, to the vets themselves,
yes,
but more importantly to the Kenya Cycling Federation, which I do believe exists, because they are in a position to actually mobilize these vets to show up for these activities. But in the event that that doesn't happen, and what you're saying is actually news, because you can actually in this day and age mobilize people who are in that age group, not necessarily call them vets, but get them into aspirational cycling, get them into lifestyle cycling.
Yes.
I mean, then you can go ahead and classify them as vets, because, as you said, this is a very inexpensive mode of keeping fit.
That is
Once
true.
you buy your bike, obviously you have to maintain it every so often,
and the bike doesn't come cheap, my friend.
It doesn't come cheap. Trust you me. Just for the record, I do have a bike, but I prefer the running. Yep, it doesn't come cheap, but
that's true.
The maintenance is obviously every so often. As we're just seeing an attack there.
Yes.
Is this an attack for the finish?
I don't think it's for the finish, but I think he just wants to open some gaps so that he doesn't have to support anyone who's trying to slipstream his power.
You talk about slipstream.
Yes.
What is slipstream?
Slipstreaming
for
the viewer. Okay. So for those who are watching, slipstreaming is the part where you don't want to use most of your power. You just sit behind the wheel of the person in front of you. He's doing the work. You're just using his, how do we call it? The air that comes from his side. He's anakukatia upepo. That's what we say in Kiswahili. So na ukipata mtu anakukatia upepo, don't lose that tire, because once you lose that tire, all your power goes down. You have to start over again from the beginning. Oh yeah. Hussein alienda ride. Sijui kama amerudi. Haya, sawa. Wacha nicheki kwa screen kama nitamuona mahali, niambie mtu. Okay.
And once again, that climb on Bunyala Road, it is taxing.
That's the part everyone was complaining about, because it comes right after a sharp corner to your right, So if you don't know how to navigate that corner easily, you have to start over again.
Basically, you also have to be aware. You have to be at 100% alertness. No room for absent-mindedness. I was just seeing another attack there, obviously. And this is daring, because you're doing this attack on the incline.
Yes. So that you have enough time when you're going downhill. The peloton has decided, no, we are not going to chase him. Let him go alone. So he's going to work his energy, and then they're going to catch up with him later up on the race. That's the problem with not having members from your club or from your group or anyone who's willing to work with you, because if you don't have a domestic, and for those who don't understand a domestic is the person they use to just push the race, and the more you push the race, the more you divide the groups into different groups or make them use all their power, all their energy, and by the end of the race, no one is there to go for that sprint finish.
Certainly, as we are heading into the business end of the Grand Nairobi Bike Race, It is brought to you by Jubilee Insurance. We are actually covering the men's main 80-kilometer race, and it has certainly unfolded right here on our screens.
The good thing about the weather today, it's not rainy. The clouds have decided, you know what, cover this cyclist. It rained yesterday and people were worried, how are the roads going to be? I believe it's going to be a slippery road, but we told them one thing: stop worrying about the road, focus on having fun, because that's the most important part. Because if you think about the road will surprise you in any other way that you need it. But if you think about having fun, you're just going to have a smooth day on that tarmac, whether it will be dry or it is going to have some wetness or on any part of the road. Just enjoy it, feel your bike, enjoy it, make sure you love whatever you're doing, because if you're not doing that and you think all about the money, trust you me, you're going to find that I finished number 750. What happened to the people in front of you? So just enjoy. To everyone out there, if you're here to race, just make sure you enjoy. That's the most important and beautiful part of the race.
And as you talk about enjoying, we are enjoying the sights and sounds of Nairobi, as brought to us by the camera crew, which is of course being directed by the one, the only, the legendary Eric Manjai from Reality Media. Top man, top stuff, top production, live on your screens all over the world.
On this route, we have services on different places, where we have a bike repair point at Uhuru Gardens, Upper Hill, Mara Road. Mobile bike repair marshals also are along the route. We also have different water points, one at Uhuru Gardens, Upper Hill, Mara Road, and there is no single use of bottles or cups. So remember, you make sure you have everything on your bike with you, because if you don't have enough water before you get to the next water point, you might suffer. And if you don't have a friend cyclist who's willing to assist his water with you, or share with you their electrolytes, I don't know what will happen to you. But so far so good. I don't see anyone who's about to bonk, anyone who's about to give up on the race. Everyone is feeling that, you know what, I'm still up on this GC category. So let's wait and see what happens at the final lap.
And we are definitely looking forward to that final lap. It has been a very competitive race thus far. The Grand Nairobi Bike Race, a great initiative. And you do feel that this is something that can, also from a cultural perspective, sell the city of Nairobi.
Oh yes, that I agree.
Remember, racing at altitude, there is so much romanticism about Nairobi hosting high-level sports at altitude. We have seen the World Rugby commentators, for example, talk about how it is difficult to play Nairobi during the Safari Sevens.
That's true.
We have seen the Diamond League continental races come to Nairobi as well, and again they always talk about that altitude. So it could be a great selling point. And I mean, Ethiopia is doing it.
Yes.
Eritrea is doing it.
Yes.
Rwanda is doing it,
yes.
So why not Kenya?
I mean,
and you could, in the days that are ensuing, have an East African circuit.
Yes.
Just the way we have the Tour de France.
That's true. That's true.
How about a tour of East Africa?
That would be such an amazing event to host here in Kenya, because like you said, Mr. Kwamba, we can start from Nairobi up to Iten. Let's give it a 3-day race, maybe from Nairobi to Nakuru, a sleepover on that night, then tomorrow from Nakuru up to Iten. It's going to be a crazy race, because most people love the long distance races, not the short distance races. But
absolutely, and again, like we said, we have the single speed riders, who obviously are unwitting riders, because they have to, I'd like to call them more of functional cyclists. They have to commute from point A to point B.
That's true.
But when you tell them that you can actually have fun with this, you can actually make money from this, those are just some of the things that we can do as we just see the pellets making their way back on to the Uhuru Highway. They are looking to make that final push at the Grand Nairobi Bike Race. Remember, we are covering the men's main 80-kilometer race. It is proving to be an exciting battle. Another competitor there in the men's single speed category. And the thing with the single speed, it's more like those old school trucks, the Isuzus and the Bedfords of back in the day.
Very true, very
true. You'll struggle on the hill, you'll struggle going downhill, but when you pick up speed, my friend,
they won't catch you.
You are unstoppable.
There's always a video cycling around social media of a professional triathlete chasing a guy on a single speed somewhere in, I think, Rwanda or Burundi, and that triathlete never measured the speed of this guy on a single speed.
Certainly, we look to be heading into the final lap here at the Grand Nairobi Bike Race. It is a close contest at the front. Who is gonna emerge victorious? Once again, that climb for the 5th time. Telling you, when you think of running on the flat streets of Nairobi, especially around City Hall and KICC, and then just thinking you have to go over railways.
Imagine.
Sometimes it's
for us cyclists, someone just
depressing.
Very true. We just decide, you know what, at Tulip, we park the bike out and then we walk. But I mean, not everyone does that. For the beginner cyclists and the amateur cyclists, most of them can't do such climbs. But for pro cyclists, I mean, for such a climb, that is a matter of seconds. Remember that we have the KOMs, the King of the Mountains and the Queen of the Mountains, as categories, different places. So everyone would want to have that crown on their Strava account.
I like the way you talk about the KOMs, the QOMs. I'm just... A random question came to my head.
Okay.
And Kenyan cyclists, where would they fall on the global stage in terms of those titles of royalty? King of the Mountain, Queen of the Mountain.
Well, wow, that's a tough question because, I mean, people ride their bikes every time, everywhere in the world. There are people who just don't go outside completely. They use their indoor trainers, and once they do their indoor trainers, they also get the same opportunity as you to get the KOMs. Like the late Sule Kangangi had 230 KOMs in Kenya, in Nairobi. In Nairobi itself, I think, had more than 20. From one stretch of Limuru to the end, it was only his name, the KOM, Sule Kangangi. So it is such a great idea that we can also try and push as many pro cyclists to get the at least somewhere on the platform, because on Strava they will measure the top 100 cyclists on their KOMs, but if we don't have anyone who's willing to take up the challenge, I don't think we'll be able to even be anywhere on that global map.
Definitely, as we are seeing another attack probably being launched, we are heading into the business end of the Grand Nairobi Bike Race. Remember, it is brought to you by Jubilee Insurance. It is turning out to be a great race of cycling.
I can see a member from Spin Kings family, Christine, just hanging on the wheels of the main team right there, making sure that she's not using all her energy. I don't know if she's the one leading in the ladies category, but we'll have to wait for the finish to get to know what happened. And as we can see that most of the Black Mamba races or the single speed racers have finished their ride. So we hope the main individual race and the main team race is also about to come to an awesome finish. But for the paracycling race, the Black Mamba race, which is the single speed, the family race and the kiddie race, already ended about 30 to 45 minutes ago.
Obviously, we'd like to give a shout out to Elijah Ouko in the other OB track and Apollo, our graphics guy. Obviously, these are guys who make sure that we are on point. The action continuing here at the Grand Nairobi Bike Race. That loop once again on Langata Road. It is time to go for broke, I presume, because we are heading into the 5th and final lap. leader.
Bado hii ni ile group. Wait, ama walishikana. Hii ni the second group.
It's not the first one.
The first one is wale maboy wawili wa Kenya Riders, the one in green.
Yani ni wasaita. Martin Kano is doing something.
Yes. Oh, so much.
Yeah, I talked to him a lot. So what I mean European Kaizo programs.
We're having our race next weekend and then tunapata next. Tusindo tutakuwa sama marshals kwa hiyo.
Sasa unajua. Also we told him do a race from Iten to Kisumu.
Yes.
Alafu iko tu ngumu. So
sana.
So you know Iten alafu rudi sana Londiani. Yeah. So yeah. That is the climb, now alafu narudi na Kericho.
Kurudi ni Mtere.
Ni Mtere. Yeah. And you can do it. True. I mean to Rwanda sio consider to day Rwanda.
Na sivyo ndio ilianza.
Yeah.
The more the events wale wazungu the more wanatuona. Sasa kama tunafanya event moja
shida hiyo Kenya cycling. Hao mabuda wako
so tuna slowness mingi.
Si unaona Chris Froome alienda
kujenga hapa.
Amegrow up hivi amesoma Peponi School. Sistangu amemfundisha Peponi School. Yeah.
Ikafika kunacha hiyo opportunity tunaachilia.
There's a Commonwealth Games represented Kenya. The next one alikuwa change allegiance. Well, the action continues here in the Grand Nairobi bike race. We are heading into the business end of Nairobi's greatest bike race. Whether on two wheels that are powered by an engine, this has to be the greatest bike race in Nairobi. Motorcyclists, come for us. We'll tell you why.
Yeah, I just love the way cyclists take care of each other. They are using the hand signs just to make sure anyone behind them or the whole peloton can see where the potholes and the rumble strips are. As you can see, they are now refueling their energy just to make sure that their position doesn't go down from where they are in the GC category. As an attack is being launched on that uphill climb, I believe they are setting a pace that they are going to use coming down. And when you set a pace on an uphill, just know going down will be a smooth road for you.
Oh boy, it will be interesting to see. Thank you so much for that terminology, especially about setting the pace going uphill. Why would anyone in their correct mind want to set the pace going uphill?
That's the way you were supposed to reduce the group behind you. You see, he's always checking the back. Anyone who wants to come and assist, no one wants to come and assist. So he's used all his energy, and the peloton around him doesn't want to come and help push the group to an extra speed. So this guy might not be among the group that is going to be finishing at the top GC contender, but you never know. Maybe he will refuel by the time he's getting to the top of the hill and coming back down. On the other side of the screen, we can see people going back for their final lap of the day.
Indeed, as you said, we are seeing the cyclists go through the final paces here. Another attack looks like it's being launched. That is steady, that is confident. You can just see the leading pack there breaking away. Athletes in first and second position fiercely competing. It looks like it's going to be a sprint finish. I could be wrong.
Yes, I think it's also going to be a sprint finish. This one, I don't think anyone is going to allow anyone to go further than whatever they have at this peloton, because nobody knows the speed or the energy of the other rider. The only thing we know is that you have a certain bike and I have a certain bike. The rest will have to wait until the last 100 meters or so. Then we're going to find out who has the strongest legs and the lightest bike.
Definitely, and that is unfolding on our screens as we just give a special mention to all the partners. We can see them showcased there on the screen below, but the action continuing here. The big question is, who is going to be the winner of the Grand Nairobi bike race in 2022? We are actually setting ourselves up for a grand stand finish. Will it be a sprint finish? Definitely. You just look at the leader and just looks to be biding his time, knowing that he is ahead. He looks like he's got an extra gas of tank.
That's true. He looks like a bodybuilder.
Tank of gas. And like you said, he looks like a bodybuilder.
Yeah, very true. He's built up from the middle going up, but the power is in the legs. If you don't have power in your legs, I mean, no matter how big you look, you're just going to be another family fun ride. Taking his position on the arrow position just to make sure he's, kwa Kiswahili tunasema kukata upepo. Anakata upepo vizuri. Unajua unatafuta kukata upepo kwa Kizungu, you're like, cutting the wind. So yeah, he's making sure that the pace is steady and making sure that everyone behind him is on the same line, and also making sure that we are going to make it a sprint finish by controlling the pace in front of the peloton.
Definitely, as we are bracing ourselves for the grandstand finish here at the Grand Nairobi Bike Race. Remember, this race is brought to you by Jubilee Insurance. It is live, it is free on the online platforms. And talk about a patient build up. Everybody just biding their time. Everybody just holding out before launching that final sprint, and it is definitely going to be something big. So who's gonna do it? You can just feel the pace picking up, the momentum gathering right here at the Grand Nairobi Bike Race. Measured really from the leading pack.
Yeah.
Obviously just weighing each other's moves.
That's
even
true.
Though they're not looking at each other. Obviously they want to get over this incline. This looks like the Wilson Airport incline, and then remember, from this you actually dip into Uhuru Highway.
Oh yes.
But you still have that climb over the railways.
Very true. That's the part most of the cyclists are fearing.
So definitely they are conserving their energies. But in the meantime,
Bunny hopping over the rumble strips up there, just making sure they don't reduce their speed. Someone from the back thinks or feels like he's going to launch an attack, but decides, you know what, let me save my energy. Let's keep on with the peloton pace, because I want to finish on this sprint finish together with the team. As you can see, their team from Team Sosi, some from Team Amani over there.
Well, the one that we have seen so far is everybody playing their cards close to their chest.
Very true.
Nobody ready to launch that final attack. And trust you me, when that attack is launched, I think it's going to be frantic.
Very true. I think maybe we'll have to ask our mobile screen over here to move to the finish line so that we can be able to also see what is going to happen, because I understand that most of the cyclists in the peloton right about here just want to save their energy. I believe they are coming to that turn. Yeah, just passing Nyayo Stadium over there, getting ready to take that sprint finish. Everyone making sure their gear is at the hardest, ready and very steady.
And definitely it is going to be a big push, as you just see the rest of the competitors, and kudos to everybody who has shown up in all the categories for the Grand Nairobi Bike Race. obviously a social event that can become entrenched in the Nairobi calendar. We already have the Nairobi Marathon, we have the Safari Sevens, Concourse d'Elegance, so why not have the Great Nairobi Bike Race as one of those things to look out to in Nairobi during any year. And you can just see again that slight decline as the leading pack makes its way towards Bunyala Road. Of course, they have to be smart about the way they are doing this race, and you can see the attacks, and that was the leading pack, and here's everybody else in what is proving to be an entertaining, competitive Grand Nairobi Bike Race.
Yes, indeed. He decided to launch an attack and nobody followed him. His team member just behind him, making sure that he doesn't go alone. As for the boys of Kenya Riders, Team Amani boys, getting on that final stretch under the expressway. I hope this is going to be the team that is up at the front.
They definitely look like the team that is up at the front, because everybody else has been behind them. Everybody else has been around Bunyala Road and its environs. So like you said, the team from Kenya Cycling Team in the top 2 positions, they are making that push. They are within grasping reach of the 2022 Grand Nairobi Bike Race that is brought to you by Jubilee Insurance. We just see the chasing pack making their way on Upper Hill. They have meters, they have kilometers
to gain
on the leading duo from the Kenya Cycling Team. That attack, who's going to make it? It has to be one of the two as we're heading, and this is all down to sheer instinct.
Very true.
Sheer predatory instinct. Who is going to win?
I believe they're going to decide among them who's going to take position 1 and the other one position 2, because they are from the same team.
Definitely, but you can still see them weighing each other out.
Yes, very true.
I'm sure the leading athlete, obviously wary of his competitor, knowing that he can obviously give that push as well, because I'm sure they push each other in training.
So true.
And this, obviously, much as it looks like a routine training run, is a run for the overall title, as we are seeing the rest of the field here.
The winners are coming in, and the boys from Kenya Riders.
And who is it going to be? It's definitely going to be a Kenya Riders 1-2. And
oh yes,
winner.
Kenya Riders take position 1 and position 2. Wow. I thought it was going to be a sprint race. I mean, maybe we're going to have a sprint finish from position 3 to 10.
Probably we'll just have to wait and see, but that was definitely hard work from the team from Kenya Riders. And you must admit that sometimes when you're chasing, you just don't have that extra kick to push your opponent.
Especially if you don't even know where they are and you can't see them.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Exactly. And here is the rest of the pack looking to fill in the positions from number 3 onwards. Who is it going to be? Remember, we've already seen the first 2 positions taken by the Kenya Riders. Now the race continuing here, and this was that moment, the slow motion. And thank you very much, Bwana Director, for the slow motion review. It was never in doubt.
He looked back and saw his teammate is behind him, and he decided, you know what, let me take this one. And the teammate said, okay, good, yeah, it's still our win. Yeah, from your cut you're gonna give me some share of mine, you know.
Definitely, that's what happens when you finish in the top 2 positions. And everybody else looking to complete the race here at the Grand Nairobi Bike Race 2022, brought to you by Jubilee Insurance. It has been a great morning of cycling.
Yes, indeed.
A great morning of Nairobians just having fun, uninhibited, as we're looking to see the rest of the field fill in the positions from number 3 onwards. It is a big race there. We can see that attack coming through.
Oh yeah, he's already feeling the finish line next to him. I don't know where our previous winner Jordan Schleck is, but I believe by now he has been told that someone else has taken your hot seat, mister. You better decide whether you're taking top 10 position or not.
That's a lovely attack.
Oh yes.
Big question is, will he be able to sustain it? Will he be able to ride up the ranks?
At this point, you just need to watch the rider in front of you. Look at their gears. Are they changing them now? Are they going to begin the sprint right about now? Should I follow them? Should I wait for my turn? So many things to think about at this point.
But also the trouble is that when you do all those things, you tend to become a bit reckless because you're going for broke.
Yeah.
And you tend to throw caution to the wind, and we can see the 3rd place finisher. I believe it's also a
Kenya rider.
So it's going to be a clean sweep up the podium for the Kenya riders.
And for the top 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is a sprint finish, and who's going to take it? Oh my, that was so close. I believe we'll have to do another slow playback to see who takes position 4, 5, 6 up to 10.
Well, here we see the competitors just making their way down. And this is the time you launch the attacks.
Yeah.
If this was driving, they'd call it defensive driving.
Very true.
Yeah. So do we have such a term in cycling, like defensive cycling?
Yeah, we do, because when you're climbing and you in a group of a peloton and you want to make your breakaway, you have to squeeze someone to the curb. Move out of the way. You don't let them, because no one is willing to give you space to attack them. They will want to contain you there as long as possible.
I tell you, every day that I am in the world of sport, yes, I learn something new.
Very true.
Thank you so much for that tip on defensive cycling.
You're welcome, sir. I believe this is the 3rd chase group, and he's decided, you know what, I'm not waiting for you guys, let me go get that position. I don't know which position that will be, but I have to make a GC category going on his own. The peloton has decided, you know what, we're not chasing, but someone behind has decided, he's called the BMC rider. He's decided, you know what, let's close this gap. We need to catch up with this guy.
Now for the unschooled like us, what is the BMC rider?
That's a company. It's I can't really remember the whole BMC technology name, but the guy's from Mombasa, and he did a very amazing ride just to help him raise awareness on him getting a new bike. And cyclists came together and gave him a bike, a BMC bike. So he decided that he's going to be a BMC rider. So everything from his shoes, the cycling bib, the jersey, everything is from BMC.
Thank you for that clarification, because for a moment I thought that he wants to be an MC. But
that's a good one.
But you've made it clear.
Yes,
you've made it concise. It's about BMC.
Oh yes.
And
not him being an MC.
Yes.
But maybe he might decide in future, you know what, that job was so amazing, let's try it.
Definitely, as we are coming down to the final stages of the men's main 80-kilometer race at the Grand Nairobi Bike Race. Remember, it is brought to you by Jubilee Insurance. It is live and free. A special shout out to Spin Kings, to Ben Asin, to George Asin, to all cycling enthusiasts out there. We do hope that you are motivated by this. We do hope to see a lot more in terms of uptake of cycling. We do hope to see a Kenyan medal in cycling at one of our major games very soon, and another sprint finish.
This
is a sprint finish as
this is what we've been looking for since the beginning. Who's going to take it? The guy from Team Saucy. He celebrated too fast and forgot that, the finish line is not here. That's what happens when you celebrate too fast. Oh my.
And that probably is because of not using your peripheral vision, your side mirrors.
Very true, yes.
Be aware of the people behind you.
Yes.
It's good to be fully focused, but also you have to use that peripheral vision. And as it so happens, that was a great finish indeed.
Very great. Very, very great. Wow, we'll have to wait to be given the top 10 contenders in the men's main 80-kilometer race. But as we have seen, top 1 to 3, we had the Kenya riders. Just look at that sprint race. Just look at that. Wow.
This is extraordinary, because can you imagine having done 79 kilometers and you still have gas in the tank to, first of all, up the pace in the last kilometer, and then probably over the last 700 meters actually embark on your sprint.
Imagine, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow.
And a massive congratulations.
I believe that's the winner of the race today.
Looks like he has hardly broken a sweat.
Yeah, he's asking when is the race beginning, you know. I have just done my warm-up. Can we start the race now?
Curtains fall on the Grand Nairobi bike race. It has been a great morning that has been brought to you by Jubilee Insurance. We hope that you have enjoyed the viewing so far. Nairobians turning out in numbers, cycling on the streets of a very beautiful and magnificent city. And that was the moment we saw the leading duo breakaway from the
breakaway from the Peloton, and they decided, you know what, we're not coming back, or you're not waiting for you guys. You guys can come. We're gone. We have a ride to E10 in the evening, you know, for their recovery.
And now that you mentioned it, you know, they could just actually do it.
That's so true. That's so true. I mean, E10 is just up here.
Boss. E10 is up to Nakuru.
Yeah, it's just to them. To them, it's just up here.
Nakuru is 160, 150 kilometers.
To them, that's a downhill. So there's no work there.
There's another 100 kilometers.
Yes. Now that's where the work begins. Once you leave Nakuru, that's where the work begins.
Do not say that E10 is just here.
It's just up here.
It's a day's trip.
For cyclists, we can do it for 17 hours.
Now when you're driving, it's still a day's trip.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Above 4 hours is anyway. We are celebrating great cycling in Nairobi, the Grand Nairobi bike race that has been brought to you by Jubilee Insurance. Thank you so much for facilitating this. Thank you so much for making this happening. We want to obviously give a shout to the governor of Nairobi, Johnson Sakaja, his senator as well, Edwin Sifuna, women rep Esther Passaris, and all Nairobi members of parliament, the MCAs who have obviously cooperated, because this race was run along several venues, several wards, and they have all ensured that it happens. It has been the Grand Nairobi race right here from the KICC. It has been great action, great pictures. Thank you to Jubilee Insurance. Thank you to Nairobi County. Thank you to Eric Manjai and Reality Media. Azu Topshata, my co-commentator.
Yes, sir.
It has been a great morning.
Indeed. Now we just wait for the awarding ceremony and maybe a little bit of the after party before we take our flight all the way to Qatar for the World Cup 2022.
I just hope that you arrive in time.
I hope so. I hope so. But the good thing is that there is no alcohol over there, so we have to do everything back here in Kenya. Just go and enjoy the games over there.
Top stuff as we just see the competitors at the Grand Nairobi bike race. To each and every one of you who took part in this great initiative that was brought to you by Jubilee Insurance, asanteni sana tunawashukuru. You know, cycling is life, cycling is health, and obviously when you cycle you improve your life cycle.
That's so true. That's so true. As you can see on your screen right about now, those are some of members of the vet team. They are wondering, when are we starting the race, because to them they finished long time ago, and now they are wondering, what do I do with all this time left?
And you know, as we speak, I have a challenge to you.
Yes, sir.
You need to challenge me, because I need to get off running. I need to cycling.
Yeah. We have to do some few kilometers with you come Saturday.
Saturday is too soon, but
the sooner the better, sir. The sooner the better.
Definitely.
Because if you keep thinking about it, you will never do it. Just do it. Get the bike out and call me. Azu, where are you? Let's go for a ride.
Coolio.
That's the way.
Anyway, this has been the Grand Nairobi bike race brought to you by Jubilee Insurance, live and free from the Kenyatta International Convention Center, as we see more competitors making their way to the finish line. A great day for cycling in Nairobi, a great day for cycling in the country, in East Africa. World, watch out for Kenya.
Yes, please.
We've conquered athletics.
Oh,
We're coming to conquer cycling as well.
Oh, I mean, I would love for that day when we are conquering the cycling world. As we said, it's just Tugali and the Omena. That will be the best ever. And some bit of yogurt for your carbs loading. And I mean, let's tackle those hills. You know, by the time someone goes to the final roundabout, in their head, they are feeling like, you know what, I'm still on that top position. That's why they're using that extra power to finish that race. As you can see, Jesse over there, tag number 204, just really struggling to make sure that he doesn't get dropped by the whole group. But I mean, I think he's used all his energy. There's nothing left in the tank over there as they go to the final turn of the route for the day. The lady over there seems to be the one leading the peloton. I don't know if they are going to allow that for a while, but let's see what they're going to do.
Let's ask if we continue.
First one of the ladies team right there, going to the finish line. Oh my, what a sprint finish. And there she goes, the first and the second lady going over the finish line. In the capital city. A pleasure doing the race alongside my very erstwhile colleague. My name is Dennis Githu. You can also call me MC Azu, or the cycling rasta in the cycling fraternity. Thank you for being with us from the beginning up to the end of the race. I hope to catch up with you after this and maybe have a few chat, and maybe we'll see you again sometime next year, same time, same place, maybe.
Not maybe, but definitely.
Definitely, yeah.
Assuming
Awesome.
that we'll both be alive.
Amen to that. That's the most important part.
Definitely. It has been a great morning, and we are checking out. It has been a great morning, like we said. Just a minute after midday East African time. Let's go and catch up with everybody who has been at the Grand Nairobi race.
Thank you, everybody. See you next time. God bless. you.